Smart24, driving business.
A very good morning to you watching and welcome to Smart Men's Business. Today is the 22nd of February 2022 and we're here yet again Thursday, hoping that you had a lovely night. And of course, 3 minutes past 7. My name is Masi Katsime and I'm joined with Andrew Baruje. And today we're going to be looking at tourism. As you know, tourism contributes 7.7% on Ughanda's GDP. And of course, actually, what we're going to talk about is the increase of tour companies and how they're contributing to Uganda's revenue. And over time, after COVID-19, I think during COVID-19, I think that is when we had numerous the growing of travel companies, because at the end of the day, people had to book online. So definitely that is why we had a surge, not a surge, but then an increasing number of tour companies within our country, Uganda. And today we're going to be looking at how do they contribute to Uganda's revenue. Now that we look at how tourism is contributing almost 1.6 people are into the tour operation, tourism association and all that. Well, today, when it comes to the role, we see that it has something to do with incorporating the communities, bridging the gap. The travel companies actually bridge the gap between communities and, of course, the people that come to travel all over the world. And of course, you've seen them through online bookings and the like. So I guess I'll give Andrew to say something about this.
Well, and of course, just to remember that 2023, we recorded at least Uganda had about 800,000 tourists arriving in, representing some kind of a 59% increase compared to 2021, where we're just getting out of the COVID-19 surge. But as you have mentioned, part of this contribution to the numbers we're seeing, that we can't rule out the fact that these tourism companies have actually contributed quite a big role in terms of connecting tourists with Uganda's natural beauty, wildlife, and cultural heritage. And of course, these companies also organizing related tours, talking about safari and what we call adventure experiences, which is also part of the package, and which is enhancing the visitors' overall travel experience. So they are definitely creating quite a huge role. And of course, in that, they are providing employment opportunities to the different societies in which they are coming from, and that is something that is very relatable. Now, of course, taking a look at the tourism-related revenue and foreign exchange earnings, that is in Uganda amounted to about 2.7 trillion Ugandan shillings. That is coming 2023. We saw an extent where tourism is kind of replacing the traditional exports that we have been accustomed to. Now, that is inclusive of coffee, which generated about 639 million US dollars, but tourism has a revenue coming into as high as 1.45 billion US dollars. I think we can't rule out the fact that these companies have actually pushed it so hard to ensure that not only that tourists stop, they're not only an intermediary between the tourists and the tourism sites, but also in the process of them giving the services to the tourists, they are ensuring that they keep this experience memorable for them. to keep coming.
Yeah, I totally agree, actually, because if you've taken keen interest in most of the posters, because they have really promoted Uganda, I mean, through, there is always that, I'm going to talk about now domestic tourism, away from, that, we always have Explorer Uganda, we always have different travel companies that give, is it a discount?
Discount. For domestic.
For domestic tourists, and of course there are a number of activities that are aligned there, zip lining and the like. So I like the fact that they give you an experience of a lifetime. Yeah, much as you may be a Ugandan, you feel like, you know what, next time I'm going to whatever falls. There are very many activities. These guys are okay.
Yeah.
These guys are okay. Their prices are fair, because I know some that are coming up, in the Easter season. There are some that are coming up, and of course, it's quite affordable actually. It's just that for Ugandans, I feel like, because now at an entrance of a certain place, you'll find it's now 5,000, 10,000. It doesn't go beyond that. So I feel like for any Ugandan, except maybe for transport, which is catered for in the fee that you pay for that tour company that you have booked. And of course, it's been easier. You can even book online. And all you have to do is they come and pick you up, and you get to your destination. But of course, these tour companies have made it a point to promote Uganda in every way they can. Through posting the different sites that we that we have in Uganda, the big five, the big five, the animals, the lions, the elephants, and all that. And of course, they have also supported local communities. Supported local communities.
Employment.
Employment. Now, if you talk about Winning Penetrable, they've given a chance for locals to actually participate as well. Through showcasing their arts and craft, through cultural tourism. So I believe they are a bridge between the tourists and the community and the government. That is their role in all this, the tour operators and companies that we have in Uganda.
And I remember actually some time back, that was in 2022, at the Innovation Village, there was a gathering of different innovators, and particularly it was in line with them innovating in line with tourism. And majority of these normally had online kind of applications which could display online booking, to make the digitization aspect, which makes tourism a bit easier for somebody. And that alone, it could kind of give us a reason as why in 2023 we had a 59% increase, because there was the involvement of technology, the digital presence of advertising the tour, the tour destinations in Uganda, and most especially West Nile, which seems to be one of those areas that are underexplored, most especially because majority head to Western Uganda and perhaps Ginger. And remember, when we have this uneven distribution of tourists in the different tourism sites, there is unequal distribution of revenues. So, and we know that the West Nile is, if you take a look at the poverty index in the recent poverty report by WUBOS 2022, it indicates the multidimensional poverty in those areas. Why? Because some of these areas are underutilized. So we are seeing the role of these companies coming together and bringing this to their table, telling them, yes, we understand that probably this is one of the areas that is highly affected with drought, and farming may not be an effective aspect there, but they have an asset that is tourism. But now these companies play a big role to ensure that they expose the tourism destinations in this area, such that these tourists can come and provide, revenue to these local communities to improve livelihoods.
And in the news, we saw the president and the first lady meeting. This producer is going to be producing a documentary on Uganda's tourism. He works with
Nat Geo World, right? Is it the one?
No, it's organization. Media house. So, I think, that is how it all starts, with the NAM coming up in shape, with all this, and someone picked interest. At the end of the day, they're like, what is in Uganda? Why is it probably, I wouldn't say it's because of NAM or the summits that we've been having, but then someone took interest to document Uganda. Why is it called the Pearl of Africa? Is that there are pearls, like they say? So this is going to be a huge opportunity. It's going to be showcasing on BBC and on big media houses. So at the end of the day, Uganda is going to be known, and that is why they are projecting 5.2 billion increase earnings from foreign exchange by 2028, starting
5.8 billion.
Yeah, starting from this year. Because you realize people are big on tourism. I didn't know. Anything, people are up for it. They're like, you know what? And the kind of environment that we are in, people are stressed. People want to go out and, explore and experience. So that has actually created a boom in tourism and people embracing the beauty that Uganda has. Yeah.
Wow. Very beautiful that way. And of course, seeing many tour companies which are emphasizing sustainable, responsible tourism practices, and of course, promoting conservation efforts and supporting local communities and ensure that tourism benefits are shared equitably. Yeah, so conservation of tourism sites, that is also quite important. Now, this comes in line with the vegetation cover, because some come to look at the amazing, beautiful forests, and the companies are ensuring, because if these companies don't attract these tourists, that means they won't come in this country, and they are losing business too. So it's a two-way side, not only for them, but also as they promote the country, they are promoting their businesses too. Yeah. Because the tourism ecosystem is quite a huge space, that if the velocity of money flows in each system, in each sector, which is attached to tourism, even the tour operators are benefiting a lot. So it's quite a responsibility. We are in this whole ecosystem as a whole. So our collective participation is quite key and important, as we also put in line the people that are coming to shoot a documentary. And now, do you know what it means for $5.2 billion?
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, because now if you can break that money down to the different participants, I mean, I'm looking at somebody that is selling crafts, to come and attract, to be earning some revenue. I'm looking at somebody that is, having nice accommodation. The 5.2 billion is going towards him in terms of these earnings. He has a portion, so that is quite huge, spreading across the sector. And once one sector is booming, definitely the income flows from this sector and it's taken to another sector, because he will be able to open up a business, a venture. It may not be necessarily in tourism, but it could be something he could put up at the suburbs where he stays. It could be a retail show, and that retail show he's going to have somebody employed. But where is the money coming from? From the tourism, and he's spreading it across all that. So that is the advantages that come with line with that. Well, exactly 15 minutes past 7. At this particular time, let's take a look at what's making headlines into the press. Well, I have the Daily Monitor here, and seeing on the top page what's making headlines about criminals who stole 5 billion Ugandan shillings a day last year. This according to police. Now, this is in line with a crime report. And as the money Ugandans lost to crime more than doubled, that is from the previous year's 859 billion Ugandan shillings, yet authorities were actually only able to recover 80 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, a new police report said, and even it painted a better security picture, indicating that crime had slightly reduced, and of course, seeing the aspect of embezzlement coming to 94 billion Ugandan shillings, as cases reported of officials embezzling funds amounted to 94, and obtaining money by false pretense. Now, this amount of money was amounting to 723 billion. Now, this is quite huge. Now, the crime of obtaining money by false pretense was the biggest contributor to the losses. Big. Now, bank fraudsters and other elements took about 87 billion from that. That is through dubious ways. Now, this is according to the crime report released by police regarding the 2023.
Well, of course, government issues tough rules on school food, much as we were addressing the issue of school safety and, of course, focusing on fires. Mainly we also had to focus on the food part of it, where about 400 local suppliers of grain producers are certified by UNBS. So definitely, because at the end of the day, when the schools are opening up, they want to go for a person who's affordable, who has the affordable, prices.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, they buy substandard food. And that is where some kids have food poisoning, some of them get sickly. So there's also need, actually, one of these days to inspect schools on the quality of food that they consume. They consume, because some food is unprepared. It's not quite prepared as it should be. If you were in school, you had complaints like that.
But you see, in our times, there was never a time where we had the experiences of food poisoning, simply because I believe most of the food that they prepare in school is fresh. Because lunchtime, supper time, because they normally serve it at around 6. So by the time they're done with lunch, they're already preparing food for. Now, I think, like you mentioned, that comes in line probably with the quality that has been prepared. Of late, there are lots of aspects that are added in food to make it to quantify it, because somebody's trying to save, so they add in things that are not supposed to be there. So that is where UNBS really has to inspect this with a keen eye, because this is the life of the students, what the future of this country. Now, taking a look at the public debt here, each Uganda now owes 2.5 million. Yeah, according to the public debt. So as it increases, it will, it shall be about, each Ugandan will be owing about 10 million. So that is just not something great. Now, Harvard peaks interest in Makerere cancer innovation. And you can find out further details as you grab this a copy of the Daily Monitor. And the government hails NMGU for, of course, talking about the coverage of the NAM and the G77 conferences. And the Ugandans urged to empower people, in quite a number of ways. All right, empowerment is key. And 70% children die with cancer yearly in Uganda. Well, that brings us to the end of this. And now we head straight to our traffic report. And of course, according to my observation, this might be around Ntindabukoto Road, of course, adjacent to the Kira Junction. Yes, absolutely. And of course, observing the traffic situation at this area, quite a moderate movement of the vehicles, coming in from Tindabukoto. So if you're a resident there and you're coming to town to report, to work all your business, well, it's quite a fair movement, as you can see for yourself in that. Yes, now, like I normally tell you, these are talking about Ntindabukoto, these are both residential, and at the same time, they are residential places, but also we count them to be areas where some people actually go to execute business. So they're both business centers and residential areas, and they both accommodate these numbers to the maximum, to the extreme. Many people, they have many residents. At the same time, they have so many business centers within. So, on a Thursday like this, well, we anticipate a jump to always be a little bit of calm due to probably the pressure that likely reduces, which is amounted onto the different people heading to work. It could be business related, but of course, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is always a roller coaster of events. So it explains why we normally see such huge congestions Yeah, same applies to the people. You can still see vehicles that are heading to Ntinda, Koto side, and majority are definitely heading to. Some could be having businesses there, or some are proceeding to other destinations, but same applies to those leaving, and they're heading towards town. And of course, adjacent to that route, we have the Kampala, the Kira Road, which is definitely heads straight. It links you to the Kamocha side and later proceeds up to Mulago, up to Mulago roundabout area until Wandaga. Still, so that is a free lane, a free drive for any person that is heading probably coming in from Tinda, you're heading to town. That could be an appropriate route. Some can decide to people staying in Tinda, you can use the Tinda Nakara Road, and before you know it, you branch in there, you link up to Lugogo, proceed. But still, here you can go through the Lugogo bypass and continue up to maybe if you're heading towards Bugolobi side. So making a shortcut to Lugogo would be an ideal perspective for you to navigate through. Now, still on that route, adjacent within the on the Lugogo bypass, we have the Bukoto Street. Still, it could be one of the greatest shortcuts you can use. It can link you towards the Acacia Mall. Then you link to the Junba Viha route, taking you towards Kololo, and proceed. You could be heading to the city center. Still, that could be an ideal shortcut for you. And still along it, we have the Kanjacha Street still around there. Very busy streets actually, but very efficient when it comes to making perfect shortcuts for you to proceed. I've seen quite a number of students, crossing over, heading to school, but of course, by the look of things, these look to be secondary students, so they are not as much. They don't give much burden to the traffic officers as compared to the primary and probably nursery. Because they have them being vulnerable, and the recklessness of some of the drivers we have in our country, Uganda, most especially those that are riding, can be overwhelming. But there is need of an extra force to ensure that they can cross effectively. But that is the situation around the Kiraro Junction, and it's quite calm for all directions. People leaving, heading to the city center. People coming from Ntina Bukoto heading to the city center, it's friendly. Same applies to those living city center or any areas close to Ntina Bukoto. You could be coming in from Bugolobi, could be coming in from any of the areas, Luzira, even all along you coming in from Chirekabad, and you're planning to head to Ntina Bukoto. Well, the situation is not really that rough, just a little patience that it takes. Well, exactly 25 minutes past 7. Now, Smart Means Business takes a short break. And of course, we return with Caribbean, East Africa, and international updates. Stick around.
Driving business.
Luxury redefined into comfort.